There really is nothing better than a nice warm hug from your loving mother. Except one thing, and that is probably if your mother made you some amazing, delicious from scratch cookies and they came straight from the oven, made by the mother that you love. And in this video, I'm actually going to be sharing with y'all a cookie recipe that is absolutely delicious. I would dare say even healthy for you. And this is kind of a 3 cookie recipe in one. So with this one basic recipe, you can actually make 3 different types of cookies. So today I'm going to be showing y'all how to make oatmeal cookies from 100% freshly milled wheat and freshly rolled oats, and show you some variations of doing that as well. Before we begin, really quick, if you are new to this channel, my name is Felicia, welcome, and I teach you all about real whole grains from a biblical perspective. So I teach you all about milling your own wheat, consuming real whole grains, all the recipes, the reason why you need to be doing this, why grains are actually not bad for us, and more. So this is actually a recipe I've had on my website for a bit, but I've never done a video. And with freshly milled wheat and all of these real ingredients, this recipe, while it looks easy, especially if you've made cookies before, there are a couple of things that can kind of trip you up along the way. So I'm going to be sharing that with y'all. And as already stated, this is technically one basic recipe that you can make 3 different cookies. So I'm going to be showing y'all how to make just basic oatmeal cookies. Super, super good. If you say, I don't like oatmeal cookies, I promise you need to try these because it'll probably change your mind. And with that, the variations that you can do with these oatmeal cookies is you can then make oatmeal raisin cookies, or you can really be extra and basically make your own whoopie pies, or like those little Debbie oatmeal cream pies that are actually really good. Well, you can actually make those yourself at home. And all of these recipes will be in the description box below, so you can print that out and make it for your family. Now, with this recipe, we are using 100% freshly milled wheat, and I actually roll my own oats at home. So I actually buy the oat groats, roll my oats, and then make quick oats. And I did a video all about that, how to do that and more. You can check that out here. I'll also link in the description box below. If you do not have a way to roll your oats, that's fine. Just grab you either some old-fashioned oats or quick oats. Kind of depends on your preference. Some people may not like the larger bites of the oats if you do old-fashioned oats. I typically use quick oats because that's what I always have usually prepared anyway. Okay, so let's get started with this recipe. I will say if you have a mixer, this is definitely going to make it easier. You can do this in a typical KitchenAid mixer. It's not as heavy as a dough, like a bread dough. I have the Bosch Universal Mixer, the Nutrimil Artiste, or the Angarsco mixer are just fine. Another thing is, as I usually do, is whenever I'm making these how-to videos for y'all, I am really making it for something that I need for my family. And I'm actually going to be tripling the recipe that you see. So I'm going to tell you the ingredients that are in the printable recipe, but what you see, if you're like, that's a whole lot more than I think, it is true, because what I'm doing is actually tripling the recipe. And in my Bosch Universal Mixer, I can actually quadruple this recipe, but I'm just tripling for today because I'm needing a lot of oatmeal cookies for an event that I'm going to. So here is what you are going to need. First of all, you need some sort of grain mill. The grain mill I'm using is my trusty girl, Miss Wanda. She's my Wonder Mill grain mill that I've had for forever. So here's the ingredients that you need. You need 1 1/4 cup of brown sugar or sucanat, 1/2 cup of softened butter. You also need 1/4 cup of shortening. Now, I do not use Crisco. That is all chemicals that are bad for you. Do not like that. Good news, we have an organic shortening that this is just palm shortening. I will link it below because it's harder to find. You also need 2 eggs, 1/2 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon, 1 teaspoon baking powder. And then we do something a little weird because you're going to need 3 tablespoons of boiling water, and you're going to add your 1 teaspoon of baking soda to that. Just hang on, I know it's weird. And then we need 2 1/2 cups of freshly milled soft white wheat flour. So you're going to mill about 1 3/4 cups of the actual wheat berries. And then you also need 2 cups of quick oats or old-fashioned oats if that's what you choose. Okay, so first off, what I'm going to do is I already started preheating my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. And what I'm gonna go ahead and do is I'm gonna go ahead and boil my water and add my baking soda to that. And then once it's boiling, and basically what this does is it really helps that baking soda to dissolve into that water, because sometimes your baking soda can be a bit lumpy. This really helps it to incorporate into the cookies. And I'm gonna go ahead and do that and set that aside, so that way it's not boiling water whenever I put it in my dough. And then I've got to get to milling my wheat berries. So let me rearrange some things and get this going. But in my Bosch Universal Mixer, I do have my cookie paddles. This is part of the baker's pack. This does not come with the Bosch. So I do have my cookie paddles here. If you're using like a KitchenAid, you're gonna need probably more of your paddle attachments. So whatever mixer you have, whatever works for cookies, that is what you are needing. So we are going to put those in. And then as with all cookies, pretty much, you've got to cream your butters with your sugars. And so I have my butter here. We're then gonna add in our brown sugar. And I just start dumping everything in. And then we need our shortening as well. Okay, and then from here, easy peasy with the mixer, we put the lid on, and then I put this either on a 1 or 2 speed on my Bosch. You basically just need a good medium speed, and we're gonna be mixing this until it's nice and creamy and it kind of fluffs up a little bit. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so stopping for a second, because here is where now it's pretty much all mixed in together. But let me move this closer so y'all can see, but that is not very light and fluffy. So we got to keep on beating it. So don't just do it where it mixes it. You skip this and you may find that your cookies just aren't as light as you would like. Okay, and this will take about a minute or two, all depending on the type of mixer that you have. But hopefully you can see this on camera, but that turned out is now much, gotta do this here, much lighter and fluffier right there. And that is really what helps you get those nice fluffy cookies. So I would say this is like, I'm trying to describe it. Like, think if you were to take icing and like really beat it, and it just really gets all nice and fluffed up. Now we just add in our eggs. So you can see how wonderful, easy this is when you have a mixer. So add in our eggs and beat. We're just gonna beat it enough where it gets incorporated. And then to this, we add in our cinnamon, our salt, and our baking powder. And I always just usually measure these out in the same bowl. And now we just mix until this is incorporated. Scrape down the bowl if you need to. And now we add in the boiling water mixture, baking soda. Now, depending on how hot this is, it's gonna change the consistency of your dough, which I will show you in just a minute. Okay, so now we just mix that in. Okay, at this point, you may be getting a little concerned because of the warmth of that, of the hot water. You may start seeing a consistency change. This is normal. So from here, we're gonna add in all of our flour. So I have a cover that fully covers this. So I just dump in all my flour at once and it works out fine. But if you have one where if this is open in any way, gradually add in the flour so it doesn't poof, go everywhere. Okay, so that's one. And just to show how I do it is I just always scoop it out here and then I kind of shake it. Oh, hold on. Be gentle, but I shake it until it's level with it. So that's the half scoop. Okay, then add all that in, cover it up completely, and mix this all in together. Okay, and then make sure all the flour is down. And then now we add in our oats. So you add in 2 cups of your quick oats, or old fashioned. Again, I'm tripling, this is 6 cups. Whew, we are maxing out this mixer, that is for sure. But I love my Bosch. I love how I can make so much. And mix this all in. And boom, just like that, y'all, ta-da, we made a cookie dough. Easy. Now, if you're doing the raisins, if oatmeal raisin cookies, now just add in your raisins and then mix it together until they're just mixed, and then you're ready to bake. Now, before then, you may notice if you immediately boiled your water, added the baking soda in, and then it didn't cool at all, and you added it in, you may find that this is a bit more soupy. So if your dough is not able to come up like this, where it's a typical cookie dough, don't add any more flour or oats or anything like that just yet. Stick it in the fridge for about 10 or 15 minutes, and that's going to help harden that dough up a bit, but still be manageable. So if you find that this is just, holy moly, like not a good consistency where it's going to scoop out and stay in its form for a cookie dough, put it in the fridge. And you can do that anyway. If you would just want to make this and you want to bake them later, at this point, feel free to put this dough in the fridge. Okay, so from here, once you have your cookie dough made, you actually have a couple options. One is, of course, go ahead and bake it. So 350 degree, we're going to scoop out our cookies, and you can kind of determine what size cookies that you want. For me personally, I find that 1.5 to 2 tablespoon size is a really nice size for a cookie. Now, if I was going to turn these into the oatmeal cream pies, the little whoopie pies, you may want to go a bit bigger and do like 3 tablespoons. That way your cookies are bigger, but depending on the size that you're wanting, do with it as you will. I have one of these little wonderful cookie scooper things. This is a 1 tablespoon one, so I just generally do like a heaping tablespoon. And you do want to make sure that your cookie dough it is staying well. And then all you do is just scoop them out. I usually keep them roughly about 2 inches apart. Now you do want to make sure you're putting this either on a greased cookie sheet or you have parchment paper down, something like that. But do give yourself space. These cookies do spread out. Not that it's the end of the world. If they touch, they just might not be as pretty. And we're scooping these out. Now, if you want to, you can make a huge batch of this like I just did. And then scoop out your cookie dough like this onto some sort of sheet. And then you freeze them individually. So now you have frozen cookie dough. And then once these dough balls are frozen, then just put them in some sort of freezer safe container or bag. And then anytime that you're wanting cookies, just pull out however many you want and then bake them as normal. They may just need a little bit more time to bake because they're coming from frozen. And of course, if you're gonna be freezing these dough balls, you can put them closer together to freeze them. You wanna make this in advance, that's totally fine. This cookie dough will keep in the fridge for a few days just fine. So that's the beauty of cookie dough. No need to buy cookie dough anymore from the store. So once I have them all out like that, then we're gonna bake them preheated 350 degree oven, middle rack for my oven, for 10 minutes. And what you're looking for with cookies is you're gonna see where the outside of that cookie starts to looking a little bit brown, very, very light brown. And you always wanna typically pull out cookies when they look a little bit underdone, because what that means is they're gonna keep hardening while they're cooling, and then you get a really nice soft cookie. Now, if you want a really crunchy cookie, leave it in there longer, but I'm just saying the best cookies are the soft ones. So let's put these in the oven and I'll see you in 10 minutes. So under no circumstances should you ever consume raw cookie dough. Don't do it. It's a bad idea. Okay, so it has been 10 minutes. And these are looking perfect. So I'm hoping the lighting, you can see this with the lighting, but you can, I know that these are done, because I've made them a million times before and 10 minutes is a sweet spot for me, but also I can see a little bit of light brown right along the edges. Now, depending on your oven, if you find that some of these are browning faster than others, you may need to rotate your pans. But bottom line is these are good. And then we want to go ahead and you can either let them rest on the pan for maybe a minute if you find that they're too soft to remove. In my case, courage of your convictions, thin spatula really helps. And we're gonna go ahead and get these on a cooling rack because I don't want them to keep cooking on the bottom. And we just let them cool for at least 5 or 10 minutes. Don't worry, they're still gonna be warm, but they're gonna harden up a bit more. Now, if you did larger cookies, you may need to cook these for a minute or two longer. You can also smell them, and they smell amazing. That's also a sign that your cookies are done when you start smelling them. And so we're getting these off, but let me kind of show you a bit the bottom of this one. So you can see that's the perfect light brown. I'm gonna get really nice soft cookies. These are already pretty quickly cooling down. And yeah, you just let these cool. Now before storing these, they have to be completely cooled down. You don't want hot cookies being in a bag or container, but we're gonna let these completely cool down. And when I get these off, we're immediately going to put the next batch on and cook those until we get them all finished. Let me get some light on here. There we go. You can see these are looking perfect. And in a few minutes, we will open one up and taste test it. It's a hard job making cookies, having to taste it. Okay, so these have cooled down just a little bit, but you can see I can pick them up. They're not falling apart, and allow me to give you a close-up of the deliciousness. Look at that. It's so pretty. And I will say, the fact that these have oats in it, whole oats, and the freshly milled wheat, my husband actually just said it, that it's almost like a complete meal. These cookies, I dare say, are actually very healthy for you because of the oats, the whole grain, but you will never guess that this is made with real wholesome ingredients. Kids love these. I take these to my homeschool co-op frequently. I have a few kids there that absolutely, they get so excited when I bring the oatmeal cookies because it's some of their favorites. Dare I say over the chocolate chip cookies, although those are very popular as well. But now we get to taste them. And let's see. Oh yeah. That right there is a perfect cookie, I have to say. So a little glance on the inside, just a typical cookie. You can see, for me, it's a perfect size. So these are nice and soft, but where they're still staying together. Now, if you wanted to make the whoopie pies, let them completely cool down. And then it's in the recipe where you make the filling. Now there's, if you have another filling, that's fine. It's just a vanilla cream type filling. But then you just take them and you put the filling right here, put another cookie on top, and voila, you have made your own homemade whoopie pies. And I dare say maybe even a little better than the Little Debbie oatmeal cream pies. I'm just saying. Or again, you can add raisins to here and they be oatmeal raisin cookies. It really is up to you. Now, a word on if your cookies do not turn out well. Let's do some troubleshooting. A general rule of thumb is if your cookies are too domed, they didn't really flatten out, that means too much flour was added and you need to back off on the flour a little bit the next time you make them. So if your cookies turned out super flat, like really, really flat, that just means not enough flour was added. And so you just need to increase that flour just a little bit more the next time you make it. And that's with any type of cookie, a general rule of thumb, very helpful if you are converting your favorite cookie recipes. So I'm gonna continue baking these up. And I know that my kids are about to love me forever, the fact that I'm gonna be feeding them cookies. My husband has already stolen some. These are some of his favorite cookies. Again, printable recipe is down below. Now, if you would like to know another favorite cookie recipe, which is my chocolate chip cookie recipe, then be sure to check out this video here. Those are delicious. And yet another cookie that you will never guess is made with 100% freshly milled whole grain flour. As always, I hope this video was helpful and y'all have a wonderful day and we're gonna go eat some cookies.